Why? We live stream?
That's what this live is all about. Is just going live with what we talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have a dedicated subject matter or a show content plan, but we don't have one up front.
Yeah,
The
but yeah,
randomness of relationship.
yeah, yeah. I'm just realizing that the power um that our words um really have, how we create
Right.
our own reality. And so for us as mature sons and daughters above the sun, welcome everybody. You're juggernauts, you're powerful and unstoppable. You observers, participators, benevolent determinators, using imagination, desire, benevolent intentionality, and staying power to change the atmosphere from the inside out. Geez, Boston, see, you said a lot there. What's going on? What's it all about? Big love. Yep. Yep. That's a new religion. We got a new religion. We're starting a new religion today, folks. And we're going to start the religion with big love.
Well, it's funny because you say, here's the thing, it's kind of a paradox because
Hmm.
I know tongue in cheek in this because you say, it's a religion or it's a theocracy, but scripture bears us out that there is no law regarding love, meaning there's no law, there's no methodology, there's no protocol, there's no rules, there's no regulations, there's no codex with love. That when love is your bread and butter, when it's your water you drink, it's the air you breathe, when it is your MO, when it's the way you move and have your being, there's no need for boundaries, no need for fences and borders, and no need for rules and laws because it produces life. Everybody desires life. Everybody desires eternal life. Everybody desires to exist in a perpetual increase in abundance. But where there is no love, that is an impossibility. So when you walk in love, you activate life. You activate the eternal characteristic of our Father, which is abundance everlasting, which is increase with no end. So when you're in that place, there's no need for guidance on how to keep on the straight and narrow, because when you walk in perfect love, you are walking in that. You're walking in a place that supersedes even biblical principles and instruction that even, like, I was talking to the Father this morning about this. And when you're in love and you're walking in the fullness of that love, there's no need to worry about my following the principles of Scripture. It supersedes, it doesn't replace. It's like a child who, when they begin to mature, they need the guidance, they need the Scripture, they need a boundary set by their parent because they don't know how to live and move and breathe in love. They're prone to selfishness, prone to egotism, prone to the I in them, and that they're not prone to the you in those around them, preferential, agape love. So you have this need for a parent to come along and say, here's the guidelines. When you hit your brother, you get your face in the wall, you get a timeout. Here's the rules, the principles that we want you to walk in. Be generous, be selfless, be kind, be good. These rules and protocols that are written out that are good and just and right in Scripture, that the apostles and the prophets and the teachers and the preachers and the evangelists tell us to follow, and they are good. But when you mature into the fullness of Christ, which is walking in the law of love, There is no need for these things or reminders. No necessary. It's not necessary to have scripture anymore because you're walking script. You are walking out what is just natural outflow of walking in the fullness of love.
Right.
So that whole idea, and I just spent a bunch of words to describe what it means that there is no law for love, because there is no need to put boundaries on anything. You're limitless. You're boundless. You have no decrease. It's always increase when you're in the perfect love. There's no question. I don't need someone to tell me, oh, you probably shouldn't do that, or here's the guidelines for that, because it's written into your heart. Because when you respond in love, you already respond in a way that brings restoration, responds in a way that brings life, responds in a way that brings regeneration of all things. Because your breath, your thought, your activity is in the seedbed of, or coming from the seedbed of life everlasting. And it is manifested in this love, the verb action, right? And that I think is really is interesting. Because so many people struggle with, how do I keep on the straight and narrow? How do I make sure I'm checking all the principle boxes? Well, if you would just operate in love in the truest, perfect sense, you won't have to worry about if you're on the straight and narrow. You don't have to worry about whether you're doing good things to the poor, serving the widow, helping the orphan. There's no need to worry about your perfect religion, because you are operating in the fullness of what it was supposed to be. It's like those are signs pointing to what it was supposed to be. And we're focused on the sign again and not about actually being in it. Right? Does that make sense? It's like we make the temple, the instructions, right, are the temple. We make the temple the holy, that's the holy thing. The temple's not holy, it's just stone on stone, brick on brick. It's what's inside that makes the temple holy. The laws aren't holy. It's what's inside. It's what produces what is the outcome of this pathway that actually makes those righteous principles. But when you're in the fullness of that, there's no need anymore for the righteous principles, because you are the embodiment of the righteous principles. And there's no need for reminder. There's no need for correction in that sense of double checking, am I on the right place? Because love is the ultimate manifestation of all things eternal and good. So that's again, I just said a lot of words just to encompass the idea of what it means. It says there is no law against love or for love.
Well,
It's a
the
kind of a
beauty,
paradox.
yeah, the beauty of authentic love. So I think we need to be honest, realize that there's an artificial love. There are
Absolutely.
realms of lust and lewdness that you have a euphoric feeling of love. You've got the best of intentions, but you're absolutely in a realm of
Right.
corruption and don't even see it. So
Right.
anyhow,
This
so
admixture.
yeah, right. And yeah. And so the beauty of tapping into big love, and there's only one big love, and the three of us are not it. But big love exists in us. And we have the opportunity to partner with big love, to try to get out of our own way, die to our stuff, take out our trash, deal with our junk, to get more of this big love frequency, because there's only one big love. There might be a lot of Elohims flying around. I know there's some folks out there is all, well, we're all Elohims, right, bro? Guess what? The good news is there's only one big love and you're not it. Huh. So when you tap into that through relationship, authentic relationship, not reading books about big love. I mean, 24/7, 365, DNA, drinking, eating, 24/7, thought life, wanting to operate. And I love thinking about big love as a technology because everybody's enthralled with AI. Isn't it interesting? Artificial intelligence. I kind of like the authentic intelligence. So I'm going to stick with the real one. Okay. So you do you. Where was I going with that? Oh, big love.
Dealing with yourself.
But
Well, it's interesting getting out of the way, getting out of our own way, right? Getting out of here. I think one of the biggest issues is getting out of other people's way. I mean, that's
yes,
the issue of religion right there.
yes. True
It's
story.
people that are poking their noses in other people's business. It didn't say go 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 poke your nose in other people's business. You know, go spread the good news and poke your nose in other people's business. For some reason, it's like I got a child who cannot get over himself. He's got to police his younger brother and everything. It's this justice thing, his right and wrong thing that kicks in. And it's like, knock it off. You got a bloody nose because you poked your nose and your other brother's just not cutting it. He's not taking it anymore and he don't want it. So he shouldn't have punched you in the nose, but the virtual nose, but he did because you kept poking your nose in a place you shouldn't go. No one, I didn't tell you to do that. I didn't say to police your brother in this way. And I think that's part of the biggest issue is we think we're loving our neighbor. And the reality is we're more full of fear than we're full of love. We're saying, Father, what about them? Yahweh, what about them? What about them? What about them? They're not doing it right. And we're going to Father saying, hey, you need to fix that. You need to deal with that. They're not doing it the right way. And that's after we've got a bloody nose.
Yeah,
Because we didn't go to the
big
first
love
time.
is saying, and you think you're doing it the right way?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's like, why stir up contention with your neighbor? That's religion stirs up contention with their neighbor. It goes in thinking it's doing right, and the truth of the matter is it's poking its nose in where it shouldn't, and it's stirring up contention unnecessarily. And so it's not helping, it's actually hindering Father in his choice to move in love.
Yeah, I just want to add there too that it's a corrupted religion. Okay, because we have this conception that, oh, I'm not religious. I'm an atheist or I'm an agnostic or, I don't know what I believe yet. That's your religion. That's your belief system. Okay, so, you can always change your mind and bone up on your religion. So I think that we need to just kind of realize that what do we believe? Well, when did you start believing that? Why do you believe that? Who told you that? Right? And ask those questions why we believe what we believe. And I think the easy play is listen, let's talk. I'll tell you about my religion. Big love. Love. There's one big love with the highest frequency. That's it. That created everything else outside of that big love. Why don't we start there and just kind of maybe consider that? Just look at that and see, well, what does that mean? To me, I think it's just a great place to start. Here's the beauty too, because when you're in the relationship and of course we all want to live a good life. We want good things for ourselves, for our family, for our friends, our neighbors, all that good stuff. Beautiful. But when you have that, when you're in alignment, especially if you think about what's going on since the new world that we're in since 2020, right? Are we still waking up? People still sound asleep. But anyhow, but when you're tapped into that love relationship, you don't have to think about outcomes. You don't have
Right.
to make anything happen.
Oh.
It's a beautiful thing. It's effortless. It's like, you want to change somebody. Well, Yeah, like your boys. So you're a big brother trying to tell your brother he's doing right and wrong. You're right, son. Do you think big love, you love your brother more than big love? So big love has got your brother. So you work on your relationship, your love
Mhm.
relationship with the source, not reading books, not intellectually stimulating thinking, discerning what right and wrong is below the sun.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's interesting because
yeah,
that comes out of that goodness, right? There, you're right. It's always that you reveal a breakdown in the relationship. Like again, going back to that example of my son, often it's because he feels the other one's getting away with something and he doesn't get to participate in that because the self-imposed boundaries from a previous experience. And so, well, mom said we only can have two, and you're having three. So you're not supposed to have three, you're supposed to have two. And it goes to mom, and mom says, I don't care if he has another one. Well, I didn't get another one. Well, you self-impose yourself these boundaries. You know, you didn't gotta keep tabs, you gotta keep that relationship growing, I guess. But it's always this issue of lack in my own heart when I begin to poke at my brother or my neighbor for their wrongdoing. It's because I feel like they're getting away with something and I don't get to participate in that. And there's a lack in myself, right? And I'm not talking about one desire to participate in gross sin, but there's this, I think that's the thing is this is comparison going on and a fear of my own loss or lack that induces me to try and correct the situation out of love. It's not out of uh outside of love. It's in fear that I do these things, right? But as soon as you let love come in, it's like, yeah, yeah, not my job. I'm just going to keep loving. I'm going to love on him. It's up to my father to deal with that, and I'm good to go because I'm not in lack. I'm not in desperation. I'm perfectly in the shalom of my father's love, and we're good to go.
so let me ask you. So what you just described, bro. So what percentage would you say having that mindset that without thinking about outcomes, would you expect that you're going to have nothing but good things when you have that mindset? What percentage of the time? 80%?
100% of the time, because I live in a
Hey,
contentment,
100%.
live in a content state of mind.
All the time? You mean it's 100%? But
If I
what
can
if this
maintain that
happens?
100%
Or
time,
what
that's
if that
100%.
happens? What
Exactly,
if
right?
this
That's right.
what if
Any of
this
the what
injustice
ifs,
comes on me or this
fear,
injustice
fear,
comes on
right,
somebody in my family?
right. And that's that fear coming in, right?
Yep.
That's the trade-off. The what if in a split second you just exchange your love for fear for that circumstance. It's so quick and so fast. We practice it. That thing is we practice so fast, so often. It's ingrained in our everyday thinking that we realize how quickly we make that switch. We declare worth. This is where James says you have a double tongue because in one instance you're professing a love everlasting, and in the same instance you turn and you operate in fear. Out of the same mouth these two things come out, and it should not be, but it does. And you wonder why you run about in lack and pain and hurt and suffering and evil, right? When you deal with when it says in the Father's prayer, deliver me from evil, you wonder why you aren't being delivered because your own mouth continues to bring it back in your speech because you exchange your love for the fear for the evil, and so you live in this evil, this trial, this tribulation, this turmoil in your day, the trouble that we're not supposed to have anxious thoughts about today, you know. But yet our speech, we're so quick to switch over. I mean, it's somewhat hilarious because I can have I've watched it happen where people they talk in a religious attitude about living in a positive spirit and love, and then instantly they switch over in the same second into a speech that just is, you can say, well, you just talked about living under the fullness of that love. And now you're talking in the same spirit of whack that's like contrary. And you
So,
don't even realize you switched over.
so that's really key. So let's say let the dust settle right there, because this is where, and I'll say this is where I think would make a mistake. When you see the switch, here's what Big Love is saying. You have the best of intentions. You just didn't come to me instantaneously and shut your
Right.
damn mouth for 15 seconds so I could give you the download so you can deliver the bread that I want you to deliver, and not only deliver the right bread, but the way you deliver it. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the level that we need to begin to walk in. So when you see that, instead of just, well, now I'm feeling good about myself because I see the brokenness in you. So let me try to fix you. Stop
Right.
fixing everybody. You
Right.
can't
Right.
fix anybody. You can't even
Yep.
fix yourself. What makes you think you're going to fix somebody else? Stop it.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
It's
The
a
Lord wants to use all of us, but we've
yeah.
got to position ourselves. And when we're in these instances, in a conversation with your child, mom, dad, just whatever, the pent up energy and all the things and the stuff. Good, it's all valid. The Lord's not having a go at you. Just sort it out with Him. But when you're in what about the sun, what we like to talk about, the QRST, your quantum assignments and entanglements. The entanglements, I like to think of the ones you didn't see coming. The knock on the door or
Yeah.
the assignment. That's the opportunity to express the technology of love and how it functions. But you have to shut up long enough to get the download. Didn't the Lord say, hey, don't worry about what you're going to say? When you, right, instead of saying the same things you say over and over and over because you're really confident. And that's another thing, which is really important too. Getting our confidence game up, because I'm not seeing a lot of confidence in a lot of ways, or you see too much bravado, spiritual arrogance. But anyhow, where was I going with all that? The love technology. When you think of it like that, and you're trying to get out of your own way and change your circumstances, you have the blueprint.
Yeah.
Your brother, the anointing, Yeshua, Jesus, Yehoshua, Jesus, whatever. That's your blueprint. You start there. That's the word that became flesh, that came here, that modeled what it looks like. That's how we're going to be able to do greater things. But we've got
Right.
to look at it. That's why I'm saying we've got to frame up language where young people are going to look and say, well, so Big Love is technology? Great day in the morning, dude. Just look around at the stuff that he makes. Look at the creation and the design,
Right. The ultimate tech.
everything.
Yep.
I mean,
Well, and that's that's
ah,
the beauty of community. You got to have people around you. Well, two things. You got to have people around you that are going to call your bluff, and then you got to have people. Then you've also got to have the humility to get the corrective from them when they call your bluff. And I'm talking about the positive spirit. So like we all have these good days, and every word out of our mouth is filled with love and positive attitude and hope. But then we get kicked in the stomach by a circumstance in the split second out of left field. And instantly out of our mouth comes a speech that's contrary to this positive love speech that we just had.
hey, Boston
And in
C is from
community,
Boston, so those F bombs can come up pretty fluid if you're not careful. Sorry
and that's
to
where you
interrupt.
need to have the community would say, oh, wait, did you just hear what came out of your mouth? Did you just see what you just said? It's contrary to what you were just talking about. It's of a different spirit, it's of a different father. And I just want you to let you know, because you've given me permission to speak into that and say, hey, you've stepped out of love. Right. And you got to have the humility to suck that. If you don't have those two things, humility and community to help you, it is an impossibility. And all things are impossible are possible for the Father, right? but he gives us community to help us to weed out and to rewire our speech so that we don't keep falling into the same vomit every time when something kicks us, right? When we get squeezed. And so that's the beauty of even of ATS community, is that the desire is that we all want to keep each other moving in a positive framework, wrapped in love, our speech graced and salted with the love of our Father, so that we don't, it's not just that we're walking as perfect beings in community and we're always saying perfect things, but it's the iron sharpening iron. It's saying, hey, I want to get better. I don't want fear coming out of my mouth. I want everything out of my mouth to be covered and graced in love. So I'm putting myself in community where that is a desire by every member of that community to lean into, and that we're going to help each other keep us moving no matter what the circumstance. We're gonna hone our works by love. That's apart from having that. It's a difficulty, near impossibility, because our culture is not walking in that. Just turn on the TV and you quickly see that is devoid of love. I don't think I'm off by saying that 99.99% of what is on TV is devoid of love, pure love. It's self-seeking, it's fear-based in everything. Any preventative thing on there, get this, otherwise this will happen, stop that. It's all fear-oriented conversation.
True story.
And so when you are inundated by what was coming out of that box, what you see on social media, how can you not be influenced to continue to vomit that stuff again and again and again? No matter how hard you do on Sunday morning to free yourself in church through worship, giving your 2 hours of just unadulterated worship with the Father of love, and you come out of that service feeling, walk on a cloud, you're like, I got it. And then you go back into your 6-day week of feeding off the trough of fear, and you wonder why you struggle, and you come in on Sunday morning bedraggled and worried and concerned to offload all that crap again. It's because you are reproducing the cycle again and again. You're not in a community that is producing a constant stream of thread of thought of love. And that the only way to break that is to get out of that cycle and to get into a community where they're eating and breathing every moment of their conversation on love, trying in every way to consume the word, the bread, Christ, and the love speech so that it becomes who they are. And that's, it seems like an impossibility. It really is. This is the camel going through the eye of the needle, because everywhere you look, even in the house, in my house, I have children who are struggling to eat the bread of love on a daily basis. So it seems like an impossibility. And this is why Christ says, with God, with Yahweh, that nothing's impossible. It is impossible, guys. You're not gonna do this well. But God. And that's where we grab a hold of the horns, the mercy seats of mercy and grace, to say, help me because I can't help myself. Holy Spirit, give me the speech, do the supernatural to give me the speech of love so that I can transfigure into a being of love. Then he surrounds you with people who are also saying, help me to be a being of love. And together we come together and lean into this. And then over time, as we grace our speech and we grace our thoughts and allow that imbuing of love, agape, with one another, we begin to see our life language change. Our thought lives change. The double-mindedness, the double-tongued speech begins to stop. And it becomes like, when you hear it, you're like, you hear someone make that, it's like you can pick it up. Like your sniffer, you just know, instantly. Wow. You can see it. You're super sensitive to the speech of fear because you have become the genuine specimen of love. And so you can see that counterfeit. You can see instantly, ooh, I know your intention was good, but man, is it laced in love. It's rid by the worms of fear, right? And I think that takes time. It takes time in community to get there. Um, but it's so worth it, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
worth it.
Well, because it's truth. It's truth. The truth is that we do not die. You don't have to
Yeah,
die. You don't have to die.
right.
So if you
Well,
lost loved
here's
ones, you listen. Big Love's got them. Let him sort it out. Okay, everything's alive. So we just need to be more intentional. That we have to want to desire pure truth, and we need to intentionally untether and unbelieve from the lies below the sun. And we've been told a lot of lies, and there's a lot more
right.
that's coming. So this is a great time to surround yourself with those relationships, perhaps maybe like ATS, that are walking this stuff out, that are dealing with stuff. Everybody, we all deal with. We're all in this. We're all in the crucible together. We're not leaving anybody behind.
Right.
And Big Love is just saying, hey, let's just hang out together. Let's just work on our deal. Because I know you want to do this, that, the other thing, and I'll bring all this stuff to you, man. I'll bring it all to you. I got it all. Everybody is outside your door. We've got it all. What triggers it is your love for me. And it's like, man, well, what do I got to do? How do we get, man, when you get in that love relationship, there ain't nothing like it, man. And then you win every day. Hey, I'm not saying emotionally, you don't have things knocking on your door. You got that malevolent, smelly entity of anxiety and depression and fear. Those things are living entities, folks. Okay? You're feeding them out of what's in your soul, the emotion, the energy. This is the big key, too. We're light, love, energy, frequency, vibration. Learn to distinguish between low vibrational language and high frequency. Not just words, but the authenticity, the authority that comes out of a true relationship. When you hang out with people that have a true relationship with Yahweh, you can see it, smell it. 2 seconds, they just start going. And you can be an introvert, same thing. I mean, there's wicked smart people that are just operating in high levels. I mean, it's awesome. But for me, it's just the key of what can it without effort, and it's awareness. When you get to the mindset, it's okay. These Jehovah Witnesses just showed up at my door Saturday morning, didn't want to answer the door. The Lord says, you need to answer the door. And they weren't the usual couple because they just see crazy Boston Sea, but they love, because I just love on them. We don't even talk about what they're doing in the Kingdom Hall. They just want to talk. And then I had two other ones, and they know each other. I love the assignment because and this is the thing, just practice loving big. Just practice it. Learn to love yourself. Give yourself a hall pass. Stop lying. Stop believing lies, propaganda. Unplug from everything below the sun that you can. Walk on the water of headlines. Go over to Above the Sun Life on X. Boston Sea post stuff every day. You want to read an article? Hey, listen, you can get headlines in 15 minutes with Boston Sea. You don't have to turn on the news the rest of the day. We're doing it for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have that gray space. Be aware that where two or more are gathered. Hey, what do you want to believe? What do you need? What do you need from the Lord? Well, it's all right. I can believe with you for that. Can you bring some skin in the game? Do you have any faith left? Yeah, real little. I got a lot. So let's do this together. You with me? Yeah, I'm with you, Boston C. And a week later, the phone rings. Boston C, you're not going to believe it. Yep, I believe it. Imagine that. We need to live in that. Imagine that. We don't have to worry about outcomes. We don't have to do things perfectly. We just have to come to the final conclusion that big love is the real deal. And he's got it. I mean, I've had to
Yeah.
give him
He's
this
your
whole deal,
confirm.
this freaking mess right down here. People still look at you. Listen, I'm not having to go left, right. I will say, listen, and Jeff and I have had this conversation. You got an election coming up. Oh, what's happening in France? Lord, do you not see what happened in France? I thought you cared about the French people. Really? What kind of freaking logic is that? The Lord puts kings in and takes kings out. Who do you think? What's going to happen in the election? I don't know. Are you going to vote? Yeah, it's not. I don't know. It's all corrupted. I know. I've been saying no voting integrity, no character, no election, maybe. I don't know. Looks like it's going to be a slam dunk in November. Really? You feel good now? You got the hiding White House? Now you see, like nobody knew? Come on, folks. Well, what's happening? How's this thing going to play out? You know what, Lord? I love you. It's freaking crazy down here. And Boston C, and all I'm telling you, you're big love. The earth is your footstool. This is your place. You know what? I think we stay. I think the malevolent and the corruption on the face of the earth needs to be exposed, and it needs to go, and we're taking over. This is your home.
So here's the thing. I've
It's
been
what's
watching this.
happening. It's
I've been
happening.
eating this this garden back to Eden stuff. I don't know if you guys have looked at it, but
Mm-mm.
it's revolutionary right now this week for me. But one of the things that I think is applicable here is one of the things he doesn't do is he doesn't deal with pests.
Doesn't deal with what?
Pests, pestilence, not a big deal. He doesn't care with the bugs. They don't mess with it. He doesn't do anything.
What, the herd flu?
What he
Impotent
does
and DOA.
is he
Have a nice day.
takes, yeah, a different kind of pest, the actual bugs, right? They eat plants.
Oh, I'm
He doesn't
sorry.
deal with that stuff. What he does, he said, if your plants are thriving and growing and increase, they take care of themselves.
Hmm.
Actually, what he says that they're so full of water because of how healthy they are. The bugs stay away because the pestilence are Yahweh's police force in nature to take care of the dead stuff, the weak stuff. And there's a whole, I don't get another rabbit trail. But the point is, amend the soil so that it produces what it needs for the plant to be thriving. Amend the soil. And this is the point of this, first the natural, then the spiritual. Amend the heart soil. Then you have no issue with pestilence, fear, anxiety, hate, greed, because you have amended the soil. You are a thriving plant. You are a tree planted by waters. And you're so full of the water of life, of love, that these things never come to you. They don't knock on your door. When you amend the soil and love is an abundance of nutrients in your tree, in your plant, in your system, you don't get these issues of fear gnawing at you, anxiety gnawing at you, injustice and anger and all that stuff is not a pestilence at your door because you have a healthy, thriving life full of the life force of love. And the interesting thing about this back to Eden gardening is it's all about cover, ground cover. That when you cover the ground, the skin of the earth, it is protected and it provides the nutrients for these amazing healthy plants. So and my instantly I'm like, Yahweh is our cover. Love is our cover. When we are covered in love, we put ourselves in a situation, in an environment where love can grow and grow abundantly, increase, increase, and increase. It only gets better. Um, and the issues that you started off with become silent. Fear is an issue. Double speech. When you're being immersed, or you're getting the compost tea of His love, and it's going into your roots, and you're stretching out, and you're growing. The issues that you first dealt with in your fear speech and your anxiety thoughts, they disappear. They don't come around. And when they start coming around, that's when you start saying, you don't, here's the old church wineskin is, well, gonna fight these buggers off. No, deal with the soil, deal with the heart issue. It's a sign that says something's wrong inside here that's attracting them back.
True story.
And so why then when those things rise up, you say, well, why am I afraid? Because I allowed a thought and a speech to be spoken that's allowing sickness and disease to come into my plant life again. And I need to shut that down. I need to change the nutrients of my plant. I need to move back into love. So
So good. I think bro may have get called into a meeting. Did he get called into the principal's? Newell, you've been talking you've been talking the whole time.
I'm,
Bring it,
because
bro. Bring it. Bring it.
you guys are talking battle theory, and I'm in the middle of it.
Okay. We don't need details. So it's just that's it. Okay. So what's needed right now? Love covering. So Jeff and
Yeah.
I, the two of us, when we've talked about this, right? So from a little teaching perspective, so Boston C's got big faith. Love you, bro. You got this. You're a juggernaut. You're powerful. You're unstoppable. This too shall pass, and you will overcome. Just choose. Keep choosing. Just keep choosing good, bro. Just keep choosing. Just choose. Just choose to choose right. Choose to choose right. The emotions will shift. Good emotions, good vibrations, good frequencies coming your way. It's all good, bro. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good for you and your fam. Don't overthink it. Get out in the sun, get some vitamin D.
It's hard.
Yeah, man. Yep.
Yeah, I hear the truth of y'all, what y'all saying.
Yep.
I
Well,
know it. I've lived it.
yeah.
It's just hard in the thick of it.
Yeah. And your body receives it, bro. We talk about this. You know, you're 75% water.
I'm
So I
more than
can all
that
the
right
good,
now.
yeah.
Shit.
So all the good love coming your way. Okay, the water's receiving it, receiving the love.
Oh, it's running down my driveway.
We got the house deal.
Yeah, it's bad.
All right, we'll talk about that.
It's overwhelming.
There's a plan, solutions. So you need
But
wisdom,
it
wisdom,
just
wisdom.
exacerbates other things that have
Yeah.
been brewing for a while now. Um, it's just a lot, and I find myself flip flopping. So now that it's running down the driveway, it's on Nicole's radar, and it's like I don't know. I find that if I speak too much, I'll just be advocating for the fear that I'm struggling with right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But this isn't to me is an opportunity for ATS to come around you and just like, well, how's this going to play out? We don't know the outcomes, but we can start right now in the now, and we're going to step into the love frequency. Yeah, absolutely. But I don't feel like love right now. Okay, you can do it by faith. It still works,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
it's ridiculous. You guys have been talking about this, and I've been, Nicole just got back, and she's just pounding me with texts about, well, maybe it's this, and maybe it's that, and we should do this, and we should do that, and it's like, okay, we can't afford groceries right now, and
Eating's way overrated, anyways, bro. Don't worry about it.
yeah, and I know you're right, and she sent like this verse about love. Corinthians 13:7. Love is a safe place of shelter, for it never stops believing the best for others. Love never takes failure as defeat, for it never gives up. And I feel like giving up. And I'm afraid to even say that because it makes me seem weak. And I'm afraid of being seen as weak and being weak. That's
Being
the stuff
seen
that
by
I'm
who,
trying to
bro?
say.
Being seen by who? Your teammates on ATS, just
Sure,
people.
anyone, even the person looking back at me in the mirror.
Hmm.
My own idealized version of myself. And that's there. I don't know if the rest of the world deals with that, but I do. It sounds easy when it doesn't hurt.
Absolutely.
Are those your
And I've got
birds,
a lot to
bro?
be thankful for, man. I haven't missed a meal. I got fresh coffee. I'm sitting here on a computer. Power's running. I got fresh water, plenty of it. I got, yeah, I got debt, but what's that? I mean, it's just numbers. Whatever. You know, I, even if I lost everything, so like I get all that, and that the house is like was like the last bank account that I had to fall back on. The last provision. It's like, well, if the worst happens, we can sell this place and start over. And it's like, no, no, you can't do that. You, there's issues, and I don't know. I feel like I'm whining, but
Well,
it's heavy. It's heavy.
it is, and the emotion of fear, right, is sometimes it feels insurmountable. But
Yeah, I think it creates a
like
mountain that was never meant to be
it
climbed.
does. Well, and then here's the thing that I found is that the fear that you're afraid of isn't really the root fear, right? It's the fear on the surface that keeps the real root fear hidden. Because well, I'm thinking like, okay, the water's draining on a hill. Well, okay, why is that a bad thing? Right? Why is that? Why am I afraid of this water draining down the hill? What is my fear about that? And then I go back to, well, because it's eroding. I'm afraid it's going to erode my foundation,
Yeah,
right? And then, but is your foundation eroded? It's still there today, right?
correct. Yeah, the
Right.
house
And
is
so
still
you're
here.
like, at right now, it's doing nothing
Nope, just
to
getting the
change
driveway
my
wet.
current circumstances, other than it's causing me causing anxiety and fear in the moment
It is.
and robbing my future.
Yes.
And it's robbing my current investment of love, but it's robbing every other investment of love speech down the road too, because I'm allowing to become something, right? So I can't fix it right now. So in Thanksgiving, I'm saying I have a house. It's not disappeared. There hasn't been an earthquake. It didn't get destroyed right now,
Right.
right?
It wasn't even for sale, so it hadn't sold. We didn't need to.
Yeah, right.
It's an
There's
account I
all
don't need to draw on right now.
what ifs that regurgitate the fear.
Yeah, they're not real.
And I think in those circumstances, I just have to say, okay, this is pointless. The fear and the emotion I'm feeling right now is fruitless.
Yeah.
It produces nothing in the
Right.
moment. All it does is rob me of my shalom.
True
Yeah, it's
story.
self-perpetuating. It just creates
And,
more of itself.
and so when he says, get a hold of your thoughts and imaginations, that's what the prayer and supplication of Philippians 4:7 says is with prayer and supplication, trade it out right now. Boom. I'm trading it. I'm refusing to allow, like I'll turn to my body and say, stop. Release the anxiety out of your stomach right now. Release that. There's no reason. This is a fool's errand. It's an illusion. It does anything but steal your life. It causes stress in you physically. I'm talking about the body right now. And I would just say, stop. It's an illusion and it's doing nothing but harming you. It's not
You're
going
right.
to produce anything but destruction in the moment and in the next hour, 2, 3, 4 days. So you need to
Yeah,
trade it in right now
I just felt my
and just
gut
say,
relax.
it does nothing. And then once I can, this is to have dominion over this body, right? As spirit being. And then I turn and say, Father, this love, this, I want to exchange this for love. You have a purpose and plan. And oh my goodness, there's a goodness in everything that I walk in. I'm under your covering. And therefore, the flow of your covering and the love is perfect. And it will mete out my benefit if I will be patient and just relax in the shalom that you're covering me with right now. There's an answer for every circumstance. And this is what I declare. And it's allow this exchange to get myself back into the proper alignment so that I'm back under the covering of his nutrient love. So then my body and my emotions, this is where this is the will gate steps in and says, we're going to flow out of this. The emotion gate right now is all out of whack, and I need to will this. I need to move. I can't flow like my emotion gate is full of fear right now. So I got to go and I got to use my will to shift the flow of life so that I can get reoriented and get the life of my father's love flowing through me. Bring that emotion under the submission of the will gate. And then as I will it to be, then my emotions align and everything else comes. The will was body, let go of the anxiety. I will you, I command you to let go of the anxiety. It's fruitless, right? This is where we love to this is where I love to use my will to supplant my emotion in the moment and redirect it because the will of the emotion is flight is a beautiful tool for when it's used properly, but it cannot become our undoing. And it can be a runaway horse of our speech and our thoughts. So we've given the will to say, I fix my word upon the truth, even though my emotion does not align up, because I know that when I fix my word upon the truth and I speak out what is true, my emotions have to come into that alignment because it submits to it. The emotions are ebbs and flows. They're ebbs and flows, and they're beautiful in how they create a world. It's the flavor, it's the decadence upon the foundation of flavor, right? It's the additions of things that makes what was beautiful even more beautiful. And yet, if we, and this is the problem of our culture, is it is given full reign to emotion. It is said, I indulge in the the heightened senses that emotions bring. I don't want that. I want to be, they're addicted. The world is addicted to the emotional senses to the point where it rules their will, it rules their house, and they cannot stay tethered and be consistent in truth, because their emotions are up and down, and that's left and right and all over the place. And so we don't even train our children. I mean, think about our children are not trained to manage their emotions, to steward their emotions through the willpower that is also God granted, God instilled. And so they are constantly blown about by the prevailing winds around them, and their emotions flutter around control, and I'm just going to fly from one decadence to the next decadence. I'm waiting for the next high, the next fix. And they have not turned their emotion like a rudder. Basically, it's like a rudder, right? Because it controls everything. They have not learned how to steward their emotions. And so with my boys, I'm teaching them. Yeah, it feels crappy right now. You hate this right now. You feel crappy, but you don't have to stay there. Don't let this is the passions that Yahweh speaks to Cain about. Don't let your passions rule you. It's at the door. Get a hold of it. Use your willpower that I also give you to bring it to bear upon your emotions. Because once your emotions are harnessed like a horse, you can steer it where it needs to go. It's difficult, especially if it's been given rule the house for so long. Rule the house for so long. It seems impossible to bring it into bear, to bring it into control and steer it in the right direction.
Yeah, it
Because,
screams
but,
false dishonor when
but
it's
when you
had to
bring
rule
it
the
into
house for so
submission
long.
and you have a healthy emotional stewardship going on, do you understand the power? Because it amplifies the will. When someone is full of joy and they're stewarding their joy, it is it amplifies the power and the authority of the voice. That's what emotion does. When someone gets passionate, it takes what's being spoken and amplifies it and gives it even more effectual empowerment upon the hearer. Right? That's but when it's also misused, it also induces fear in other people. And that's the beauty and the curse of emotion. Steward Motions steward under the sun are destructive. Emotions steward above the sun, through as Yahweh designed, is life and the builder of abundance in things.
And when that just go ahead, bro, finish up. Go ahead.
And I think that's the key. If we can learn how to bring our emotions, we will pull ourselves out of circumstances a lot faster, and we can bring ourselves back into the right alignment of love and truth. But it takes time. It's hard because that's so, it's so strong. But that's where the grace of the Spirit had. We have to have the Holy Spirit saying, "You leverage your will right now," you know,
And
and
the
then
leveraging, I was just going to chime in, bro. The
you go ahead. No, go
leveraging the
ahead. Yeah.
will is, which is, it's really a partner, is choice, the gateway of choice. And so,
Yes.
when you were describing your situation, bro, but I know we'll end in a few minutes and then we'll talk a little bit offline and talk about some strategies and things. But it just seems like what you're describing almost is like metaphorical for what's happening on the planet. So you're noticing something and you're looking at a structure of a thing, whatever it is, it could be anything. And you're seeing that take place in the financial system and politics and, so on and so forth. But what I'm sensing is when we see something in and around our life that's causing distress, of course, we want to try to get out of pain and into pleasure. So we want to get into
Exactly.
that joy mode. So I think that one of the things is the recognition of what's really taking place in and around in the physical, what's happening inside of me on the inside. And Jeff nailed it, the whole emotional thing. And once you will and get that emotional gateway, that's not to say that it's not going to flow, but it's the choosing. The will supports the choice. And so
Mhm.
when you get that level of clarity, you're going to have conversations with your bride, your family, to decide what's going to happen about the house. Because what'll happen is because naturally, intuitively, everything we've got to make a choice. There is no option of not making a choice. Not making a choice. You just made a choice, and then the circumstances and the outcome is probably not going to be favorable. So the hard thing, we've all been in hard places and had to make some hard choices that is just, man, when you get, and I don't know what that is in this situation or anybody's situation, is that when you think I've had about all that I can take, you're in the best place you've ever been to break through and to break up in love, and your world will change. And you'll just see, I mean, it's just, yeah. So anyhow, I know we're getting the top of the hour and it's been good. This is good.
It's been great.
I just forget we're live. I don't know who listen. Anybody that's out there who watches this later, we love you.
Yeah.
Just love, big love, practice loving big. Just be real,
Yep.
authentic. Have these real conversations, right?
Yep.
And
So good, man.
yeah,
So good.
and come join us tomorrow. Yeah, River
River
Sound,
Sound.
and then we'll get back at it tomorrow. Pick up where we left off.
Sounds good.
Otherwise, until next time.
Until next week. Check us out on Facebook, Telegram, X, and our website, abovethesun.io.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere.
Love you all.